Hello, my friend. This time, our story is about Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor who loved wisdom and lived like a philosopher. As you listen, I invite you to relax and imagine each part of his life. This story is told in simple English, made for learners like you who love great stories. Let's begin the journey of Marcus Aurelius. Chapter 1. A quiet boy with big thoughts. Marcus Aurelius was born in Rome in the year 121. His full name at birth was Marcus Annius Verus. His family was rich and respected in Roman society, but Marcus was not like other Roman boys. He was quiet, calm, and serious. He liked to think more than play. When Marcus was young, he lost his father. His father died when Marcus was only 3 years old. After that, his mother and grandfather took care of him. His mother was a kind and gentle woman. She loved reading and learning, and she taught Marcus to enjoy the same things. Marcus did not like loud games or parties. He spent a lot of time alone. He liked to sit and think. He also read books about philosophy. One of his favorite teachers was a man named Diognetus. This teacher showed Marcus the value of a simple and honest life. Sometimes, Marcus wore rough clothes to make his body strong. He slept on a hard floor to train his mind. His family thought this was strange, but Marcus believed that comfort made people weak. He wanted to be strong in his mind and heart. He also spent time writing down his thoughts. These early notes were simple, but they showed how deeply Marcus thought about life. He wanted to understand what is good and how to live well. He was not interested in fame or money. At the end of this chapter, Marcus was still a boy, but he already showed signs of the great man he would become. He was quiet, wise, and full of questions. Chapter 2. Growing up in Rome. As Marcus Aurelius grew older, he continued to live in the city of Rome. Rome was the heart of a great empire. It was full of noise, buildings, and people from many places. Marcus lived in a big house with his family, but he stayed humble and simple. His grandfather was a strong man in Roman politics. He helped guide Marcus as he grew. The family had many servants and much money, but Marcus did not become spoiled. He followed the values his mother taught him. He stayed quiet, thoughtful, and honest. At age 12, Marcus was chosen to join a special group called the Salii. This group honored the god Mars. It was a big honor for a boy so young. He wore special robes and took part in old Roman dances. But even with this role, Marcus stayed serious. He did not care much for public praise. He also started to study with many good teachers. One was Fronto, a famous speaker. Fronto taught Marcus how to write and speak clearly. Marcus listened carefully and worked hard. He wanted to learn how to use words with truth and wisdom. Fronto became a close friend. Later, Marcus began to study philosophy more deeply. He was drawn to a way of thinking called Stoicism. This philosophy taught that people should stay calm and live by reason. It also said we should not fear pain or death. Marcus loved this way of thinking. At night, Marcus would often sit and read. He liked books by Epictetus, another Stoic. He learned that we cannot control what happens outside us, but we can control how we act and think. This idea stayed with him for the rest of his life. Though Marcus lived in a busy city, his heart was quiet. He did not want to chase power or pleasure. He wanted to live with peace, kindness, and understanding. These were not common goals for a Roman boy, but Marcus was not a common boy. As he moved into his teenage years, his mind grew sharper. His thoughts grew deeper. He was preparing step by step for a future he could not yet see. Chapter 3. The Young Student of Philosophy. Marcus Aurelius was now a young man. He was serious, thoughtful, and full of questions. He still lived in Rome, but his heart belonged to the world of ideas. He loved books more than power. He loved truth more than pleasure. He read many old writers and learned from the great thinkers of the past. One of his favorites was Epictetus, a man who once lived as a slave but became a wise teacher. Epictetus said that we must focus on what we can control. This helped Marcus stay calm during hard times. Marcus also studied with other teachers. He learned grammar, logic, and music. He studied law and government. But above all, he studied philosophy. To him, philosophy was not just for books. It was for life. It was the way to be a good man. He practiced self-control every day. He did not eat too much. He did not chase comfort. He did not care about fashion. He wore simple clothes and lived a simple life. Many rich young men in Rome loved parties and games, but Marcus loved silence and thought. He wrote in his journal every day. He asked himself questions. Am I doing the right thing? Am I honest? Did I let anger rule me today? These were not school tasks. These were personal tests. He wanted to grow in character, not just in knowledge. Sometimes, Marcus felt alone. He did not always fit in, but he kept his mind strong. He believed that each person must live with purpose. He believed that every day is a chance to do good. As his studies continued, something big happened. The Emperor of Rome, Antoninus Pius, noticed him. Antoninus was a calm and fair ruler. He liked Marcus's good heart and strong mind. He saw something special in the young man. So, Antoninus made a bold choice. He decided to adopt Marcus as his son. This meant that Marcus would one day become emperor. It was a great honor and also a great test. Marcus would now begin to walk a new path, one that would take him from books to power. The boy who loved peace would soon be trained to rule an empire. Chapter 4. Chosen by the Emperor. Marcus Aurelius was now in his late teens. One day, his life changed forever. The Emperor Antoninus Pius chose to adopt him. In Rome, adoption was not always about family. It was often about power. It was a way to choose the next ruler. Antoninus was not Marcus's real father, but from that day, he became like one. He gave Marcus a new name, Marcus alias Aurelius Verus. More importantly, he gave Marcus a new future. Marcus was now the future emperor of Rome. This change brought many duties. Marcus began to attend meetings of the Senate. He watched how laws were made. He listened to judges and lawyers. He learned how the empire worked. He took careful notes and asked good questions. At the same time, he continued his studies. He did not stop reading or thinking. He wrote letters to his teacher Fronto. In one letter, Marcus said, "I do not want power for myself. I only want to serve well." This showed his true heart. Antoninus was a calm and wise man. He ruled Rome with peace and balance. He did not rush. He did not shout. He listened, then decided. Marcus learned a lot by watching him. He saw that true power is quiet, not loud. Over the next few years, Marcus worked side by side with the emperor. He learned how to lead soldiers. He learned how to speak to large crowds. He also learned how to stay strong during hard times. Rome was not always peaceful. Sometimes there were fights and troubles. Marcus also made a big life choice. He married a woman named Faustina. She was the daughter of Antoninus. They had many children together. This was the beginning of a new part of his life, as a husband and a father. Even as life became more serious, Marcus stayed true to his values. He still followed the ideas of Stoic philosophy. He still believed in reason, duty, and self-control. He often reminded himself, "Do your job well, help others. Do not ask for praise." Many young men in Rome wanted fame. Marcus wanted to do what was right. He was still learning, but his time to lead was coming soon. Chapter 5: The Road to Power. Marcus Aurelius waited many years before he became emperor. During this time, he stayed close to Antoninus Pius. Marcus watched him work every day. He learned by observing, listening, and asking questions. He was patient. He was not in a hurry. For 23 years, Antoninus ruled Rome. His time as emperor was peaceful. He did not fight many wars. He focused on law, order, and helping the people. Marcus learned how to lead without fear or anger. This was the perfect training for him. While waiting, Marcus took on more responsibility. He helped judge cases. He gave advice to leaders. He worked with the Senate to make decisions. Slowly, he became more than a student. He became a partner in leading the empire. At home, Marcus was a father to many children. He loved his wife Faustina and tried to be a good husband. Life in the palace was busy, but Marcus always found time to think. He would wake up early and write in his notebook. These thoughts would later become part of his famous book, Meditations. In the year 161, Antoninus Pius became very ill. He knew his time was ending. On his last day, he gave one final message: "Keep the army and the empire strong." Then he passed away. The empire now looked to Marcus. Marcus Aurelius became emperor at the age of 39. But he did something unusual. He did not want to rule alone. He asked the Senate to make Lucius Verus co-emperor. Lucius was also adopted by Antoninus, so they were like brothers. This was the first time Rome had two emperors at the same time. Marcus said, "It is better to rule together than alone." He believed in teamwork, not personal glory. Lucius was more relaxed, but Marcus was serious. Still, they worked well together. Marcus was now wearing the purple robe of the emperor. But inside, he was still the same man. He still followed the path of wisdom. He still believed that power must serve others. The road to power did not change who he was. Now the real tests of leadership were about to begin. Chapter 6: The Stoic on the Throne. Marcus Aurelius was now emperor of Rome, but he was not like most rulers. He did not enjoy power. He did not want fame. He saw himself as a servant of the people. He wanted to rule with wisdom and calm. He remembered the teachings of Stoic philosophy. A Stoic must stay strong in hard times. A Stoic must stay honest, kind, and fair. Marcus believed this deeply. Every morning he reminded himself to act with reason and not emotion. As emperor, he lived simply. He did not throw large parties. He did not spend money on himself. He ate plain food and wore simple clothes. He believed that a good leader should not live better than the people. Marcus faced many problems during his rule. One big problem was war. German tribes were attacking the empire's northern borders. Marcus had to lead the army, even though he hated violence. He wrote, "I go to war, not with joy, but with duty." Another challenge was disease. A terrible plague spread across the empire. Many people died, including soldiers and workers. Marcus did not leave the city. He stayed to help and lead the people. He sent doctors. He gave money for food and care. He did not run from danger. While ruling, Marcus also kept writing. He did not write for others. he wrote for himself. His words were quiet and personal. He asked himself, "What is the right thing to do today?" He reminded himself, "The world can be hard, but my mind can stay calm." One day, he wrote, "You can live a good life, even in a palace." This showed that he believed a person can stay true, even in a place of power. The palace did not change who he was. He remained a man of thought and peace. Lucius Verus, the co-emperor, died after only 8 years. Marcus was now the only ruler. He continued to lead with strength and calm. He never ruled with fear. He ruled with his heart and mind. Through all the troubles, Marcus stayed steady. His face was often tired, but his eyes were clear. He did not shout. He did not blame others. He took each day as a new test. He believed that true power comes from within. He sat on the throne, but his true seat was in his soul. Chapter 7. The Wars and the Emperor's Burden. The empire was large, but it was not peaceful. Trouble came from many sides. The most dangerous came from the north. Tribes across the Danube River began to attack Roman lands. These tribes were strong and brave. They wanted food, land, and safety for their people. Marcus Aurelius had to act. He left the city and traveled with the army. He wore the same clothes as his soldiers. He slept in a tent like them. He ate the same food. The soldiers respected him. They saw that their emperor was one of them. For many years, Marcus led the Roman army in cold and wild lands. Winters were hard. Battles were often bloody. He missed his home. He missed his wife and children. But he did not complain. He knew that duty comes before comfort. During quiet nights, Marcus sat alone and wrote. He wrote about life, pain, and death. He reminded himself to stay calm. "You may not control the world," he wrote, "but you can control your thoughts." These words helped him stay strong when he felt tired or sad. One time the army was trapped. The enemy had surrounded them. The soldiers were thirsty and weak. Then a strong rain came from the sky. The Romans said it was a miracle. Some believed it came from the gods. Marcus did not take the glory. He thanked nature and moved forward. In the middle of these wars, tragedy struck. His wife Faustina died. Marcus loved her deeply. Her death brought great sadness to him. But he kept working. He had no time to rest. The empire still needed him. Later, he made a hard choice. He brought his son Commodus to the army camp. He wanted to prepare him for the future. Marcus hoped his son would learn honor and strength. But deep inside, he worried. Commodus was not like him. The wars went on for many years. Marcus did not give up. He wrote, "The work of a good man is never finished." He believed each day was a chance to do the right thing. Even in pain, he stood tall. These were heavy years. Marcus carried the weight of Rome on his shoulders. He saw death, loss, and fear. But he kept going. His mind stayed clear and his heart stayed steady. The emperor's burden was great, but his spirit was greater. Chapter 8. A father, a leader, a man. Marcus Aurelius was not only an emperor, he was also a father. He and Faustina had many children. Some of them died young, as was common in ancient times, but a few lived, including his son Commodus. Marcus loved all his children, but he hoped most for Commodus. He wanted his son to grow into a strong and wise leader. Marcus gave him the best teachers. He brought him to meetings. He took him on trips through the empire. He tried to teach him calm, truth, and self-control. But Commodus was not like his father. Commodus liked power, games, and praise. He enjoyed fighting in shows and wearing rich clothes. Marcus saw this. He felt worried, but still, he believed in his duty as a father. He hoped that with time, Commodus would grow better. As emperor, Marcus always tried to act with fairness. He helped the poor. He improved the laws. He gave land to soldiers after war. He listened to the people. He did not want to rule with fear. He wanted to lead with reason. In the palace, Marcus lived a simple life. He did not take gold for himself. He worked long hours. He answered letters, signed papers, and made decisions every day. He did not rest much. He saw his job as a service, not a prize. Friends and workers near him said he was kind and patient. If someone made a mistake, he stayed calm. He would say, "We are all human." He believed that we should forgive others and also forgive ourselves. This belief came from his stoic thinking. At night, he still wrote in his notebook. These short notes were never meant to be read by others. He wrote them only for himself. He asked, "Am I doing my best? Am I living with truth?" These pages later became the book Meditations. He also thought about death, but he did not fear it. He believed that every person must die. What matters is how we live. He wrote, "Do not waste time. Life is short. Be kind. Be strong." As a man, Marcus Aurelius was not perfect, but he tried every day to be good. He was honest, quiet, and wise. His body grew older, but his mind stayed clear. He was a father, a leader, and most of all, a man who lived with purpose. Chapter 9. Writing in the Dark. Meditations. Marcus Aurelius spent many years in army camps far from Rome. The nights were cold. The days were long. There was noise from horses, soldiers, and fires. But inside his tent, there was silence. And in that silence, Marcus wrote. He used a small notebook. The pages were simple. The words were not meant for others. He wrote only for himself. These notes helped him think clearly. They helped him stay calm. They became his most famous book, Meditations. The word meditations means deep thoughts. That is what these pages were. They were not stories or speeches. They were short lines, full of feeling and wisdom. He wrote things like, "You have power over your mind, not outside events," and "The best revenge is to be unlike the one who hurt you." Sometimes, he reminded himself to be strong. Other times, he reminded himself to be kind. He knew life could be hard, but he believed that we can always choose our thoughts. He believed in calm action, not angry reaction. His writing was not about leading Rome. It was about leading himself. He did not write as a ruler. He wrote as a man trying to be better each day. This is what made meditation so special. It was honest, it was personal, it was real. He also reminded himself of death. He did not fear it. He said, "You could leave life right now. Let that guide your words and actions." He believed that remembering death helps us live well. Over time, these pages became a mirror. Marcus looked at them to see his true self. He never stopped learning. He never stopped asking questions. He never said, "I know everything." Instead, he said, "How can I do better today?" Years later, people found these writings. They were surprised. An emperor had written such quiet and thoughtful words. Today, many people around the world read Meditations. They find peace in his words. They see the mind of a leader who cared more about good character than gold or fame. Marcus never planned to write a famous book. He just wanted to keep his soul steady. He wanted to stay human in a world full of power, war, and change. His pen was his shield. His thoughts were his guide. His words were his true legacy. Chapter 10. The End of His Journey. In the year 180, Marcus Aurelius was an old man. His body was tired from years of war, work, and worry. He was still with the army, far from his home in Rome. The cold winds of the north blew through the camp. Marcus felt that his time was near. He became sick. His doctors tried to help, but there was no cure. He stayed in bed, weak but calm. He did not cry or fear. He had spent his whole life preparing for this moment. He believed that death was part of nature. It was not the end, only a change. As he lay resting, he called for his son Commodus. He told him to be strong, to rule with care. He hoped that Commodus would carry on the work he started. In his heart, he knew that his son was different. But still, he gave him the empire. On March 17th, in the city of Vindobona, today's Vienna, Marcus Aurelius passed away. He was 58 years old. His soldiers mourned him. Many wept. They had followed him for years. He was not only their emperor, he was their example. News of his death reached Rome. The people were sad. They had loved Marcus for his wisdom, fairness, and calm rule. Statues were built, poems were written. Some called him the last of the good emperors. Commodus became the new emperor. His rule was very different. He loved power, not wisdom. He wanted pleasure, not duty. Many people looked back and missed the time of Marcus Aurelius. They remembered his simple life and thoughtful heart. Today, Marcus Aurelius is still remembered all over the world. His book, Meditations, is read by millions. His words are printed in many languages. His life shows that a ruler can also be a thinker. That power and kindness can live together. He lived during a hard time. There were wars, disease, and loss, but he remained calm, honest, and strong. He showed the world that real power is inside the heart and mind. His journey ended in the cold lands of the north, but his thoughts live on. His spirit still speaks through his quiet words and simple life. This was the real story of Marcus Aurelius, a man who ruled the Roman Empire, yet lived like a humble student of life. Thank you for joining this journey through the real story of Marcus Aurelius. May his quiet strength, deep thoughts, and peaceful heart stay with you.